focus on education.
Education should be on the top-ranked priorities in Africa, and that's why we're here.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good morning and good evening everywhere, and for all of you dear participants, and welcome to NARO anniversary webinar. And for you, NARO is the North African Regional Office established 2 years ago under the patronage of His Excellency President of Egypt, of Al-Azhar, the Grand Imam Professor Ahmed Al-Tayyib. Through NARO, hosted by Al-Azhar University, a new era in African higher education was born, and it was established to fulfill the AAU vision of being the leading and voice of higher education in Africa. I would like to thank all who support the establishment of NARO, whether in Egypt or all over the world. And we have the pleasure that we honored by participation of eminent professors along North Africa.
Office within 2 years of its establishment. On behalf of the board, management, staff, and the over 400 higher education institutions who are members of the Association of African Universities, and representing a dynamic force in the international arena. Africa has...
Professor Mervat, can we start with Mr. Ambassador for Mauritania? He's
all right.
Give his talk right now.
All right. Okay. It's just we will get back to Professor Al-Shinawi.
I will call him. I will call him.
Okay.
I think he's here, Professor Shinawi. He shared his screen.
He did share his screen, but we can't hear him. I think it showed to me. It showed that he has a very low bandwidth, something of the sort. But can we start with His Excellency the Dr. Mukhtar Al-Jilani now?
Yes, he is here. Professor, can you come, please? Sit down.
All right. I'm pleased and honored to introduce to you Dr. Al-Jilani, who is the Cultural Attaché of the Embassy of Mauritania. His Excellency is the HRD at the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research. He is also, I think he's a colleague of mine. He's a professor of linguistics, which is also happened to be my field. It's at the University of Nouakchott. Now, Professor Al-Jilani.
أهلا وسهلا.
أهلا بحضرتك.
ولأن القصنع والجودة بل لا بد من التخطيط والمتابعة والعمل المنظم للوصول إلى الجودة، فقد اعتمدت وزارة في موريتانيا لوحة قيادة جيدة لمؤشرات نظام التعليم العالي، الأمر الذي مكن من تحليل عناصر الكفاءة وتحديد المعوقات، ومن ثم إمكانية تعزيز القدرات وإحداث تطور ملموس على المستويات الأكاديمية والتربوية والإدارية والتقنية، وسعيا إلى مشاركة الخبرات العالمية في إبراز الأهمية الخاصة لرقمنة التعليم ودورها في تقدم الشعوب. افتتح معالي وزير التعليم العالي والبحث العلمي وتقنيات الإعلام والجو السالم مطلع شهر مارس الجاري منتدى موريتانيا بوابة الاستثمار المستدام في إفريقيا، رقمنة التعليم والبحث العلمي المستدام، المنظم من طرف منتدى المستوى واكشوط. وقد أكد معالي الوزير بهذه المناسبة أن العمل جار من أجل تطوير قطاعات الرقمنة بسرعة كبيرة، وأنه يشكل محوراً من أهم محاور جهود تطوير التعليم العالي وتعزيز استخدام ودمج تقنيات الإعلام والاتصال إلى مصادر المعلومات، وابتغاء تحقيق برامج تكوين وتوعية سليمة لدمج مجتمعنا في مجتمع المعرفة العالمي. أيها الإخوة والأخوات، تدركون بلا ريب كم نحن بحاجة إلى مزيد من الحوار والنقاش حول قضايا التنمية في مجتمعاتنا، وكيف يحتل التعليم والبحث العلمي مركز الصدارة في حل العديد من الإشكالات وتذليل العديد من الصعوبات التي تحد من قدرة المجتمعات على تجاوز أوضاعها نحو الأفضل. إن هذا اللقاء حقاً هو فرصة جديرة بأن تغتنم من أجل ترجمة هذه القناعات، أن تمكن التعليم العالي في قارتنا من تعزيز السياسات التنموية بمخرجات قادرة على تطوير البحث العلمي والإسهام في إنتاج التكنولوجيا وتطويرها خدمة للشعوب.
If you can hear us, do you mind to reshare your screen and unmute yourself, please?
Yeah, Laura?
Thank you so much. Let me introduce myself. My name is Najla Budan Ramdan. I have in charge the supervision of the tertiary education for employment project, which is supporting the implementation of a large part of the reform of higher education here in Tunisia, mainly in terms of quality assurance and employment. First, I would like to express my warmest thanks to the organizers who made this webinar possible. I will present the quality assurance landscape in Tunisia with a focus on the main orientation due to the pandemic. So let me introduce briefly our quality assurance landscape of higher education and research. As you can see, it's a traditional three-pillar system composed by the Ministry of Higher Education and Research, the public universities, 12 universities plus a virtual university, and the 2 qualitative research and the other 2 learning and teaching. So in this context, our ministry has the mission of developing the national strategy of quality assurance, as well as delivering the licensing programs, labelizing the research structures, and of course financing through different mechanisms, mainly through contractualization, competitive funding programs, and performance-based financing. Regarding the international standards, namely the European and African standards and guidelines, the university and the institutions are the first responsible of the quality of their services delivery in terms of research, learning, and teaching. They have to develop their own specific and respective quality assurance policies with regard, of course, to the national strategy, and ensure a continuous improvement of quality. A few words about the ongoing reform. The initial consultation started 10 years ago in 2011, and the preliminary action plan has been approved in 2015. In December 2017, we had our national so-called assise of the reform with the emergence of 40 consensual resolutions. And from that time, we have been implementing the reform according to a dynamic and agile process. And outcomes of the assise of the reform are dealing with quality and quality assurance, namely strengthening the governance of the higher education, research and innovation system according to a holistic approach for more autonomy, performance and accountability. Developing of a national quality assurance and accreditation strategy and establishing an independent and autonomous quality assurance external body. The Tertiary Education for Employment Project, acronym PROMESSE in French, promesse pour projet de modernisation de l'enseignement supérieur en soutien à l'employabilité. As I told, PROMESSE is the main project that supports the reform. It's funded by a loan contracted by our government with the World Bank, and the main objectives are first, improving the employability of our graduates, and second, and in the meanwhile, modernizing the management of the system as a whole. Here is now an overview of the recent programs and projects of the ministry that support quality. These initiatives are developed and funded by the ongoing TIP project. These are competitive innovation and structuring funds. They finance according to a bottom-up approach and within a contractual approach the initiative of the institutions and universities. It is the first window is dedicated to a better connection of academics offers with the needs of professionals. The second part aims at the emergence of an innovative and entrepreneurial university. The third window deals with the services provided to students. And finally, component 4 addresses the of universities, establishments and research center. Very recently, and in order to meet the new challenges introduced by the pandemic COVID-19, a fifth component or window was launched in October 2020 with the support of the British Embassy for the development of online training and the digitalization of the associates education and administrative services. Window 4 therefore supports the development of strategy planning and management of universities and institutions, the so-called and well-known now here in Tunisia, PAC, DGSU and DGSE. For the French speakers, DGSU for développement de la gestion stratégique des CE, c'est le développement de la gestion stratégique des établissements. This category of project supports the priority areas of training and employability, innovation, student services and governments. Under this last aspect, the PAC, DGSU and DGSE supports internal quality assurance and in particular the dynamization and operationalization of the internal quality committees. They of course, and the implementation of a total quality management system for a proper functioning of administrative and pedagogic services. As I told you, more recently in October 2020, our Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research has launched a new competitive program to meet the new challenges related to the pandemic context, mainly preserving the academic year and ensuring distance learning and evaluation, and as well as administrative services, building a more resilient higher education system, and enhancing the employability of young graduates by consolidating their transferable life and life skills. Tunisia higher education have several assets to meet these challenges. First, universities have just achieved their strategic orientation plans and are revising their priorities by introducing more e-administration, information system, digital education, and related infrastructure. Second, we have in Tunisia a virtual university which, as part of its mission, supports the implementation of the national strategy for online education in Tunisia, and which confirmed its agility during the management of the two previous waves of the pandemic and the pedagogical continuity. Third, our Khwarizmi Computer Center which has renewed its infrastructure for a scalable and flexible architecture and services in terms of network, security, storage, activity, national cloud, etc. The main expected impact of this window is the development of online education system within universities and institutions, and more broadly the digital transformation of their services. For that, the program will be fostering national and institutional capacity for quality assurance and promoting a continuous improvement process nationally as well as at each university level. It will support teaching and learning at scale. It will boost quality assurance activities related to online education, which consists of university self-evaluation, benchmarking with specific standards, capacity building, and certification, the development and the implementation of university strategic plans focused on quality assurance, and it will also promote external quality assurance initiatives such as accreditation. And of course, it will boost the university-wide observatories because we need to aggregate monitoring and evaluation efforts across higher education institutions, such as student satisfaction and study. Again, given the expected economic impact of the pandemic, ensuring high-quality, labor market-relevant programs of study will be more important than ever. The target here is also to help students and graduates in the acquisition of additional skills to cover the new emerging labor market needs in promising sectors such as sustainable development sector, disaster risk management and reduction, circular economy, etc. But also upgrading and retraining in new areas of education, research and innovation, and boosting as well self-employment and entrepreneurship. And a final and very enthusiastic remark. As you have seen, we are engage in a dynamic and agile reform process with a view to synergy, pooling of resources and complementarity between all the projects. For my part, I have high expectation for the next stage, which will be the valorization of the PEPITs that are already emerging in our universities. And I will be very honored to come back to you and share some success stories and lessons learned. Thank you again for your kind attention, and please take care. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Najla. This was indeed an informative presentation. I think we've learned that so many countries are undergoing massive and actually profound changes for the future. Unfortunately, we could not connect with Dr. El-Shenawi for this session, but his session will be postponed to the titled Internationalization. Dr. El-Shenawi will be doing his presentation on that session after the break. For now, I would like to open the floor if there is any of the participants who would like to ask Professor El-Jilani from Mauritania, from Tunisia, if you have any questions or inquiries about their presentations. If you have any, please raise your hand in the chat box. No? Yes, we have a question from Marceline Dabo. Yes, Marceline. Can we unmute Miss Marceline? She has raised her hand.
Yes, hello everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Dabo.
Okay.
Would you introduce yourself, please? Tell us who you are and where are you from?
Jumbo to everybody. I am Dr. Marcelin Dabo. I am an African from West Africa, Senegal. I am living in the African diaspora in France.
Yes.
I have been spending 10 years in automobile industry, and today I'm working. I found my own company. Okay.
Wonderful. Would you please ask your question? Yeah.
Yeah, my question is I'm looking for collaboration with the different universities
and come up with a comprehensive list when we can then share with the members of the NARO and AAU and provide each and every one of you with their answers. Okay, we have another question from Professor Sakaraya Olalekan. Yes? Professor Sakaraya? Hello? Hello?
Prof. Sakaraya, please, you can unmute.
So far from the queries. Anyone who would like to have any address questions to Professor Najla Budan Ramadan, because I think she has, or Professor El-Jilani, they actually both of them made very impressive presentations about the reform efforts and directions for the future. Anyone who has questions for them?
Prof. Mirvat, I think Professor Shenawi is here right now. Can you please ask him if he can share
sure,
his
Dr.
presentation?
Okay, Dr. Shenawi, Dr. Muhammad. Dr. Muhammad Shenawi. Hello? Dr. Muhammad? Dr. Muhammad, can he? I don't think he can hear me.
Maybe we can postpone because he is the chair of the second session, so he can start with his presentation during the
all right. All right. So I think we now wrap this session now. If anyone, if no one has any further questions, I would like to wrap this session. I would like also to thank our impressive presenters, Professor from Mauritania and Dr. Najla, Professor Najla Ramadan from Tunisia. She's the Director General of the Cabinet of the Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research. Would like to thank them and interesting presentations, and thank all the participants, and looking forward to your attendance, and thank you again, Dr. Amani, for your efforts in organizing this. I'm honored to be your moderator here. I think we'll go for a break now. Okay.
Exactly. Yes, right. We have a health break. During the health break, we have a virtual cruise for North African countries. I'd like to enjoy it, and also you can have a cup of tea while we are coming back within 10 minutes. Thank you, Mervat, for the excellent and very organized chairing of the session. And we are sorry that some of our eminent speakers cannot join us due to internet errors, and we will make sure to have them during the time of the webinar. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Please enjoy as Nile. Barcelona, Spain. Professor Shernawi, I hope you can make it and join us now. Are you there? If Professor Shernawi still have connection error, I'd like to ask Professor Faiza. Are you there, Professor Faiza, the speaker of the last session, to give her presentation? She already sent me a message that she joined the platform. Professor Faiza, are you there or not yet? To save the time of our participants, I'd like to ask my colleague, Dr. Muhammad Atiyah, to start the session and to introduce the first speaker, please. Dr. Muhammad, are you there?
Yes, Prof, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead and kindly share the session till we found how to solve the problem of connection.
Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for this introduction, my Prof. Actually, as we are running with our theme today as towards linked Africa higher education windows of opportunities, I will take the chance to introduce the first session for the education institutions. It's about take the chance to introduce Prof. Aziza Manouni. Dr. Aziza Manouni, she is a program manager of Maulaya.
At home is global citizenship, which targets enabling students to live and work in a globalized society. Here I give the example of organizing intercultural activities, organizing or promoting activities or actions for social responsibility of the university, civic engagement of students, engaging them in working with communities on real challenges, but also real and innovative solutions. When it comes to Moulay Ismail University, our university is committed to international openness, reflected by the will to create a multilateral framework to address international challenges and seizing international opportunities. Moulay Ismail University's international strategy is based on 4 pillars. First, to develop international opportunities to create an institution connected and adapted to change. So it's about inclusiveness and making it a smart university. Develop bilateral cooperation. For example, we already have established partnership with Belgium, Germany, France, mainly Europe, but also Africa. And to offer students and academic and administrative staff the opportunity to have international experience. And finally, integrate international themes, including sustainability and global citizenship into curricula, teaching, research, and innovation. How to respond to this strategy? Moulay Ismail University has set an institutional framework through the creation of a pole for cooperation and international relations, which is the first point of contact for any institution wishing to cooperate with our university. It also supports all the it also supports all the components in the initiation, design, or management of the cooperation project. Moulay Ismail University also continues to develop and expand activities with its existing partners while identifying other regions of the world for strategic partnerships, with particular emphasis on Europe. This is being developed through a multi-partners project, bilateral agreements, joining international networks, thesis co-tutelle or joint PhDs, and also through international mobility, either inbound or outbound, mainly through the Erasmus Plus international credit mobility between Morocco and Europe, but also, and this is an important point, thanks to the intra-Africa mobility scheme of the European Union and the African Union, and which is for our case the MONAF project. We also enjoy an active participation in cooperation program and international networks, Old Campus, Erasmus Plus capacity building project, 12 years of cooperation between Moulay Ismail University and Flemish universities in Belgium, and also other opportunities that we are seizing. How are we advancing internationalization at home at Moulay Ismail University? 3 points to highlight. First, the international experience of home students, social integration, and supportive environment. This is being developed through a multi-partnership capacity building project, which is MED2 IAH, standing for Mediterranean countries towards internationalization at home, which is the project co-funded by the Erasmus Plus program of the European Union. It's a project of 3 years, which started in May 20, to a website where you can find the deliverables and the tools developed within this project. The project, the MED2 IAH project, involves 5 European partners. The coordination is ensured by Slovenian University, EMUNI, and we have also France, Italian, and Spanish universities as program partners. The project involves 11 partner universities, 2 from Lebanon, 2 from Jordan, and 3 from Morocco, among which Moulay Ismail University of Meknes. Why this project is important, what are the challenges and the needs we identified first. At institutional level, we observed that there is insufficient knowledge of internationalization at home within our universities. The management process for the internationalization of curriculum is still very limited and not very well developed. It is very common to African universities. We have a lack of smoothness in the financial procedures. There is a lack of human resources for internationalization activities. And finally, there is insufficient infrastructure to support international students and the diversity of our campuses. At individual level, there is a significant need for skills and individual know-how within academic staff, administrative staff, and also students, mainly to give them the opportunity to better understand the possibilities of mobility and have a specific space for international students for a promotion of diversity within our campuses. The objectives of the project is first to define the internationalization landscapes of higher education institutions in the southern Mediterranean countries and identify the levels of international and intercultural dimensions. This has been allowed by a tool we developed. It's a questionnaire that is targeting all the departments at the university and which allows to evaluate the internationalization strategy, impacts, objectives and impacts of the institution. The second point is about improving the capacity of the partner universities in internationalization through staff training and translating general awareness of the IAH concept into institutional strategies and action plans. And the third objective is to develop students' intercultural knowledge and their affinity for cultural diversity by making the IOs dynamic multicultural focal points. The project attaches a big importance to extracurricular learning activities, and this is mainly reported by the main outcome of the project, which is the France Tea House, which is targeting to develop thematic content to improve cultural diversity and intercultural dialogue in our universities. To develop and build capacities of staff for new pedagogical methods based on innovative and collaborative learning settings and putting in service the new technologies and the use of technologies like the organization of webinars and setting language labs. And here for the webinars and for roundtables, capacity building activities, you can refer to the website and you can register and have access to all the developed material so far. The main deliverables of the project is first to define a clear internationalization strategy of the university, develop an action plan for internationalization at home for our universities with establishing a well-structured international relations office. And for the part regarding the students is about developing a manual for international students, a France Tea House to promote intercultural activities, and a storytelling manual to encourage students, international and home students, to record storytelling videos. We have also recommendations for other institutions who are not involved in the project for promoting internationalization at home, and this will also be made available publicly on the website of the project. And finally, make available national profiles per country on internationalization of higher education. The France Tea House, and which I said was the main outcome of the project, is about main structures within the university. First, the Office for International Affairs, مكتب شؤون الدولية, the Projects Office for Management of International Projects, the Language Lab or مختبر اللغات to meet and to learn virtually with each other, Chinese, English, French, Arabic, and other languages. And finally, the cultural team room or the forum or the منتدى الشاي الثقافي. So this is mainly about making students as agents of knowledge transfer and cultural exchange in an intercultural environment. The conclusion, we can say that we know that internationalization in higher education is on the rise and becomes increasingly more strategic. Mobility is still the key component in international education, but our approach is based on the conviction that mobility should not be an end in itself, as it sometimes has become, but a tool serving an educational, scientific, and institutional project, and in a comprehensive approach to internationalization, either abroad or at home, integration, diversity, sustainability, ethics, and values still and are the key factors for quality and international universities. Based on my presentation, I just want to raise some questions. We can debate about for further in the debate. Like, how does internationalization relate to the identity of the institution, its mission, vision, and its values, mainly when it comes to African universities? How should the different components of the university integrate this international dimension? What experiences and skills do studying abroad bring, and how to make them home? How can the contribution of international students be successful to the training of all students at the institution, including home students or local students, and how to involve them? And finally, how to make internationalization at home an integrated part of the internationalization strategy at African universities. If anyone is concerned about the question, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I enjoyed this conference. Thank you again for the AAU and for the NAYO, and shukran.
Thank you, Dr. Aziza, for this informative presentation, and it shows how the effort that University of Moulay Ismail spent to go for internationalization. Second, we take our second speaker, Dr. Bushra Salim. Prof. Bushra Salim, she is Dean of Postgraduate Studies at Fars Universities in Alexandria.